Hey everybody, welcome back to the Serial Killers. We are a little group of writers who are learning to write and publish and market serialized fiction. I'm Shaunta Grimes, and the other members of this little mastermind are Adrian Grimes, Zach Payne, Terry Demmons, and Lee Carter. Welcome everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
So today we are going to just talk about what's going on with us. I think Lee has a cover that we're going to look at, and we're going to talk about monetizing on Substack. And then the second half of the call, Zach Payne is in the hot seat. So we're going to hear some of his story, which is called The Queen's Peculiars, because Zach is the best at coming up with titles.
I think Zach should name my book for me. I have like a list brewing and none of them, they all just feel so ridiculous. Maybe that's what I'll share for my end is some title ideas. I can get
maybe later today on this call, you can tell us your list. And anyway, though, Zach is going to read part of his book, his serialized fiction, The Queen's Peculiars, which I think is like a fantasy CSI, which very, very cool. And then I'm going to screen share and I'm going to live edit a little bit for him so that you guys can get the benefit of that, and hopefully will help you with your own stories as well. And by you guys, I mean this group, but also all of you listening and watching. So, hi guys.
Hello.
Hey.
How are I think we have all officially set up our Substacks.
You did.
Yeah. How are your guys doing? Like, how is your Substacks doing?
I have gone from 0 to 36 followers in about a week and a half, a little less than a week and a half. So I'm really excited about that. And now I am obsessing about how I can keep them interested. And I'm trying to decide how many times a week I need to post, and does it need to be, I mean, I've seen some newsletters that are just these long, organized, beautiful things. And I see these other newsletters that are these short, little reads that are kind of funny and helpful, but they're very short. I think I'm leaning towards more short and just like one subject per post, but trying to spread it out throughout the week. What do you guys think?
I'm wondering, Terry, what like I have been thinking this week about like what exactly am I going to publish here? I have lots of outlets for my own personal writing. Like I have Medium, I have a Ninja Writers Substack, I have a Ninja Writers just email list that I write to a lot. I'm writing ebook, like short nonfiction ebooks. So I'm like, what am I going to publish here that's different from what I'm publishing in other places? And I decided that I'm going to publish a lot. I'm going to try to publish stuff that I publish anyway in Ninja Writers, but it's not a great fit, or that's just my personal stuff that like this would be a place where if you wanted to just see what Shaunta doing or what matters to me right now. Like I'm writing a post for my Substack right now about the Enneagram because I've been studying it. I am definitely an Enneagram 6 wing 7, just in case anybody cares. Maybe nobody does, but I do, and it's fun for me to write about it. And so that's this kind of stuff that I'm going to put in my Substack, but it's definitely more casual than what I would
you
say
as an author, right? Like you as an author more than you as a teacher.
Me as a person.
Yeah.
So not even me as an author necessarily, but I don't talk about my own fiction in Ninja Writers very much at all. Like I don't, because it's so focused on everyone else's fiction that it would feel weird to be. I've been in a class where the teacher was like, every other line he was like, when I wrote this book, and it was like, oh my God, who cares about your book? Like I'm here to talk about my book, and I don't want anyone to feel that way. So I don't talk about my fiction much in Ninja Writers, and this will be a place for me to talk about like what I'm actually working on outside of Ninja Writers. Like when I say outside of Ninja Writers, I mean outside of like the teaching that I do. But so Terry, I wonder if like this wouldn't be a good place for you to say like just do fun videos of your geese or Bruce or whatever, and talk about like you live somewhere where you can have geese. That's interesting to me. Just as a person, like I have a like a odd little, like if I lived a different life, I would live like on a little small holding type homestead, and I feel like that's how you live. And I don't even really know, because you don't talk about it that much, and I feel like that kind of thing would be really fun.
You could be like, oh my gosh, my favorite, I might even be my favorite Instagram account ever, but definitely my favorite author Instagram account is Stephen King's Instagram account, where it's like mostly his dogs, who, like, I can't remember their name, but they're like these little Pomeranians, and they have these like vicious names because he's Stephen King, right? And so the or I can't remember if it's vicious or cutie, but like cutesy names. But the way that he'll like put a post up, and he's like, and it's like from this cute little dog's point of view, but the dog just like tried to eat the mailman, or like, it cracks me up. You could do that.
Yeah, I think short, fun stuff that's like, so people can get to know you as a person. Like, what kind of, like, who are you, that, and how do you come out? You have this such a rich imagination that I think like letting readers into that your imaginary world would be fantastic.
Because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think it would be fantastic. And I know for myself, one thing I'm definitely going to try to do is not overthink it, which is hard for me. I'm an overthinker. But I'm going to try to just be like, this is what's on my mind today. And so here you go, if you're interested, if you care. But you may not.
That's what I think too. I think letting people see you as a person, letting them see your personality, and then telling them about things that they might find interesting that you don't necessarily, because it's you. But like with the geese and with Bruce, everybody seems to really love Bruce, so he's going to be prominent.
You know, he's the real star, Terry, right?
I really would. I'm not, like, even if I didn't know you and know Bruce, I would subscribe to your newsletter just for pictures of Bruce.
Just for him. So he needs to be like the picture, the profile picture of the newsletter.
Yeah.
Come read my mom's stuff. Yeah. So that's, I think I'm leaning towards short, just because also trying to build the dog grooming business, I'm finding that there are fewer and fewer hours in the day. So the time that I'm really compartmentalizing like my hours down to almost to the half an hour every day, and really trying to be focused and get everything done when it needs to be done in the day, so that I can go to sleep and get up and do it again. And I don't want to get burnt out. So I'm trying to figure out little ways like keeping my posts short and keeping the videos.
But I do want to say, I don't think that you need to try to hit on every single thing that ever you might possibly write about. Like, this could just be like Terry's imagination, or just literally whatever on a date. I have realized this week that I need to schedule in, like, I'm going to post on this day, and I might post other days during the week, but like for sure I'll post on this whatever day. And whatever I have on, my plan is that I'm just going to publish whatever I happen to be thinking about that week, like that day. And not overthink it. I'm going to try very hard not to overplan it, because that's when I start to ruin stuff for myself.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. I have a good tendency to do that. Overplan stuff so much that it's like not fun anymore. But the planning part is fun for me. But then I get it all planned, and then I'm like, like, I don't want to do it anymore. What about you, Lee? How's your Substack going?
Yeah, I've gone from 0 to 20 subscribers.
And 2 of them are paid. 2
paid, yeah.
What? That's amazing.
That's awesome. That's so great.
Cool. Very cool.
Are they people that you knew?
Yes, but
yeah,
they're not.
So friends, like 2 friends think that your project is so cool that they want to support it, and that's amazing.
Yeah, 2 ninja writers as well.
That's amazing. Yay. I find that utterly amazing. How about you, Zach? How's your Substack going?
It is going well. I am up to 31 subscribers, And since we were just talking about it today, I just set up the paid part. So we'll see if anybody signs up.
Cool.
Cool.
Adrian, how's yours doing?
Good. I am have been using it so far for more of my like art history writing and some reading. I did a lot of reading this week. So I wrote a post about my books that I read, which was fun to do. But I don't know. I'm very excited to use it as like a platform for like my like art history writing, because I need to get back into doing that, because I have a really cool opportunity this summer to curate a show that's gonna like require me to travel and also write in art, like write about art history, and I need to get back into the mode of doing that because I have not done it since I graduated. And so I have a lot of ideas for that. I'm a little stressing out a little bit about actually turning on the paid part. I don't do well with feeling like I have to do things. This is the artist side of me that like, and I'm a little afraid of adding that pressure of the paid part to my but I have some good ideas. Like I really want to do like a weekly art guide that like each week talk about like a different art movement and highlight an artist and like kind of curate like a virtual exhibition. But I am awesome. Also, I think feeling like, and I think that this is probably just something that we as creators need to think about, put more, add more worth to our work. I think that's the reason why Substack, right, starts at $5 or $30 a year, right? And you can't go lower. And that's probably a good thing because we should value creators, but I'm having a hard time justifying like just putting my book up under the paid one, right? And that's kind of scary to do, but I think I have some ideas for the art history side of stuff that I could do, like little lessons and things like that. And then
what you could also do, Adrian, is if you've got some of the more general stuff that you like to talk about, like reading and things, you could do a shorter version for free, and then
that's what I
to read the in-depth version.
Well, and I liked these like art guides because they'll be a little more in depth, but it'll provide a lot of content where like I can just say like like a listicle, like here's 10 things you didn't know about the contemporary art movement, or like it'll allow me to mine for a lot of content too, for a couple of things a week. But I have been really Shaunta had an idea and I started doing it yesterday, and it actually worked really well, I thought, but of taking a post that I write on Substack and putting an excerpt on Medium with like a keep reading button. And I did that and it worked really well. Like I think I got about 20 people that came from Medium over to my
nice.
My post. And on Medium, that post, when I posted the excerpt, some search engine picked it up super quick. Like, I mean, like within a half an hour of me posting the piece, which it was
about Georgia O'Keeffe, and I feel like it had a
pretty, I mean, it was an okay, I mean, it was a pretty okay title SEO wise. I had struggled with that, but I had to call it 5 Georgia O'Keeffe quotations instead of quotes, because quotations did better, which I thought was interesting. But it got picked up really quickly, and so I got a good amount of traffic from that too, which was nice. But I don't know, I noticed that I have some thoughts for my story, like my book, when I post it, and I'm kind of playing around with the idea of possibly posting the actual chapters on Medium or on my Substack for free, but like creating putting the Mobi file, formatting it and creating a Mobi file for each of my episodes to put behind a paywall so people could read it on their Kindle if they wanted to. And I'm like playing around with that idea, but I also don't know if that's just me stressing out because I struggle with monetizing my stuff, putting a number on it, you know?
Well, I have 113 followers. I thought that I had turned on my monetization and I hadn't. So I was like, okay, well, nobody's paid, but I didn't have it turned on. So I turned it on last night. And I haven't I haven't advertised anything, but I have, I think it's interesting to note that I have an audience already with Ninja Writers, although I have advertised all of us on, you know, to Ninja Writers. I have sent out links to some of my, to at least one of my posts that, you know, where I was just like, hey, I wrote about this over here. So that was helpful. I do want to say though, it's interesting, like not like having an audience already does not necessarily translate into doing something different. So, you know, like I have almost 20,000 people on the Ninja Writers email list and 113 followed me. I have 113 followers on my thing. So it gave me a little boost, which as a teacher writer is really nice for me because I don't do well writing like without an audience, without anybody reading. It's really hard for me to be motivated to write at all. I'm definitely highly motivated by my audience. Terry, I bet you feel that same way. I think you're probably a teacher artist.
I like an audience.
Personally. Yeah.
It lights me up when people like my
even
stuff.
if it's small, like doesn't it feel so much better? Even like, oh my God, there's 30 people who are going to read my posts.
Yeah.
Even if it's one person, the difference between 0 and 1 for me anyway is huge. So there's very, very little of what I write that I would write cathartically or just for myself, like say in a journal. Almost nothing. I'd rather just go do it. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's more personal stuff, like what I'm talking about in my notebook or in my Substack, like, so a lot of planning. Well, I'd rather just spend my time doing my planning. I'm not going to write about doing my planning if I don't have an audience to read it. So that's, but I turned on my monetization and I learned yesterday that since 2020, Substack has had a minimum amount of $5 a month or $30 for the year. And I had planned on making it $2 or $20. So I set it at $5. But then Adrian was telling me about the woman who like she
Elle
learned
Griffin.
about doing this from Elle Griffin, and she has hers set at $10 or $40. So it's a huge discount if you pay for the year. Like the monthly is so high. I mean, $10 is $10. It's not that high, but it's so much higher than the monthly that it's almost like she's discouraged, or from the annual, that she's almost discouraging people from signing up month to month. Because if you did like $10 or $30 for the whole year, and most people then pay like $10 a month or $3 a month, and they go ahead and do the 30, you end up with an audience that you know will be there for the whole amount, like whole length of your season of your episodic story.
And that's kind of nice for when you're getting started.
Well,
and
like
she has
idea.
it. What she has on there. Well, I don't know if she's always had this or if she's just running like a promotion, but like she has the monthly price like discounted, right? So you know you're getting it at a cheaper price, and eventually she'll raise it, right? So that's
she ends up sharing, I think she's sharing a lot of like this is how much I'm making and this is my schedule. And so she's probably ending up with a lot of like Adrian joined for that information. So a lot of writers rather than readers. And I'm not sure.
She is. I was reading some of her posts last night because I wanted to see like if she talked about like how her fiction is doing on there. And she said that when she first set it up, she set it up and she thought that she did not have the plan to also put her work up a month later on Medium and Wattpad and all those other places. And so, but didn't decide that she was going to do that until after she'd already had like 30 paying subscribers. And so she emailed them and she's like, I think that I need to do this so that I can start building an audience for my own writing. If you want to refund, let me know. And most of them, she said, nobody asked for a refund. And most people responded saying that they didn't even sign up for her fiction anyways. They signed up because they wanted to see what she was doing. And also she had started like a free newsletter and she was putting some stuff behind there. So it was like the other stuff and not necessarily.
But it's like people are joining her to learn how she's doing this because they want to do their own serialized fiction rather than doing it because they want to read her story. And personally, I kind of want to avoid that. I want people to want to read my story, which makes me, I'm not sure. I'm not publishing the first episode of my story until the end of February. And so I'm going to have some time to think about it. I'm not going to monetize anything. I mean, it's monetized, but I'm not going to put anything behind the paywall until then. And my plan, I think it's interesting if we all do different things, but my plan is to on the the last Sunday of February, I'm going to publish episode 1. And then on the last Sunday of March, I'm going to publish episode 2 and put episode 1 on YouTube. On Amazon. As a a Kindle Unlimited, and then it'll be a series. In April, I'll publish episode 2 on Substack and 3 on Substack and 2 on Amazon. So, if you subscribe, you get the episode a full month early. That's what I think I'm going to experiment with. I'm not sure. What are your guys' plans for that? Does Lee, you're getting ready to publish at the end of this month. As this episode is coming out, Lee's story is going to be just about, what day are you publishing?
Next Sunday.
Yeah, so you're publishing the day this episode goes live. So we will definitely have a link in the show notes to Lee's we'll have all of our Substacks there, but Lee's story will be live. So make sure you go check that out and we'll put that information in the show notes. But what is your plan?
Well, for my paid subscribers, I'm going to be putting the episode out on the Friday night. So my Saturday morning. And then for unpaid subscribers, it'll go out on the Sunday. And then I'm going to do the same as you with putting it out on Amazon a month later.
But you're going to make every episode free as well, so they just get 24 hours?
For the first one.
Oh, the first one. Yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do.
And then I think what I'm going to do from then on is to put a snippet free, and then if you want to read the rest, please subscribe.
Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm going to make the first episode totally free. I might not. I think it might be interesting for people who are in my situation where they're more experienced writers. I'm already published. I'm not sure I need to make it free. And it might be interesting for me to experiment with that while you guys are experimenting with making, how many episodes need to be free if you're a brand new writer or brand new fiction writer or unpublished fiction writer, I guess. Let's go with that. What are you going to do then?
Experienced writers have excerpts of their stuff online for you.
Well, it'll be an excerpt. So it would be, when you publish behind the paywall, you can put a certain amount of the work up front. So it would be like the first say scene of would be like, and then it would be like read more. Like I was looking at, one thing that was interesting to me is that I was looking at, if you go to readers.substack.com, you get, or reader.substack.com, I think you get like who you subscribe to. And I haven't subscribed to all those people, but I'm on their email list. So there's a lot of people who have subscribed me to their Substack because I was on their email list, which is interesting. I'm assuming, because I don't remember subscribing to like 20 or 30 people.
You can import email lists.
So I'm not doing that. If you're watching this and you're on my email list, I won't do that.
No.
But one of the people who has done that for me was Austin Kleon. I will say I have not gotten bombarded with, like, there's not been a lot of, I haven't noticed a bunch of emails or anything, but I get so many emails that I don't really, like, I have to go look for what I want to see in my email list. But I have not noticed that I was like overwhelmed with emails from Substack, but Austin Kleon at some point added me to Substack, and I went to look, and because the first thing that he has up there is a 20-minute flip through of one of his diaries. So Austin Kleon is an artist, and he had his most popular famous book is Steal Like an Artist, which I really love. He's got a great weekly newsletter that goes out on Fridays. It's like just a list of 10 cool things that he's done or seen or read or listened to or whatever every week. And I was like a 20-minute flip through of one of his diaries or journals, like his art journals, would be super cool. And he had a huge long thing, including an excerpt of the video and like a good length, like a blog post length thing. And then you get all the way to the bottom. I'm like, well, where's the link? Like I was expecting a YouTube link or something, and it's behind the paywall. Oh, you're muted.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but I did not pull the trigger, but I'm thinking about it still, right? Like it's on my mind. Like, do I want to pay $5 a month to see, like, or even $5 once and then I can cancel? It's easy to cancel, but do I want to pay $5 to see that flip through? And the answer is maybe. I don't know yet. I'm deciding. The excerpt was like a very, very sped up. So instead of 20 minutes, it was 20 seconds. So it's like 100 times sped up flip through of it. And I'm like, was that enough? Or do I really need to see like a slow 20-minute flip through of his diary? But I found that very interesting. So I definitely will post a good chunk, like a satisfying amount of the story every month, I think, live, and then, or, free, and then a link at the bottom, like, do you want to continue to read this? Then, click here.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think for those.
Oh, I wanted to see Lee's cover. Lee, do you want to screen share and show us your cover, and Adrian maybe has some feedback, and then we'll move on to Zach's story.
Well, I've got an editable link, so I thought if I shared that, then Adrian have at it.
Oh, and then Adrian, you can screen share.
Mm-hmm. My cat was being quiet until just this moment, and now you guys are going to hear him. Hopefully you think that's cute. He's like standing up and jiggling. This is a funny story. He's a big cat, and he's tall, and he can reach doorknobs, and he thinks he knows how to open them. And so I'll just hear him, like right now I hear him jiggling the doorknob because he thinks he can open it to get inside. Oh, Lee, this is really good.
Oh yeah,
I like it.
That looks like SG though, and I don't know if that looks like SG to me because it's my initials.
Where?
I thought it was SG too.
Oh yeah,
I did. Yeah.
But it's possible that I thought it was, like, it really stood out to me, like the first thing I noticed, because it's my initial.
It does look like it. I mean, there's the S here, so I wonder if that's enough too. You know what you might do is there's a website called Creative Market, where you might be able to go on. I'm gonna go just
that is a really good cover though. Holy cow.
It is really good. You might be able to go on here and find like a I don't know, alarm clock font, right? And you might be able to find one if Canva doesn't have one. You might be able to find one for not too expensive that has a more distinct 5 maybe.
Yeah.
So you might check that out.
You might, I wonder about using a different font for the 5G.
That was my thought.
That's an option too.
Or I love the parentheses, so it's 5 ghosts, but it looks like 5G hosts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I like it as well. This is a little hard to read, and this is almost impossible to read.
Yeah.
So there's some.
I wonder if her name should be bigger. And I usually don't see
make a copy
the words "by" on a cover.
Yeah.
That could be a different font, and also the series 1, and then the SG could be that font.
Yeah, something you could do too is I made a copy, so I'm not editing this on your original, but you could make a copy of this. I'm gonna drag that up there right now. But sometimes if you layer this and add on the back instead this neon font, maybe do it like that. That's a little brighter, and you can layer it a couple times so that it gets a kind of glowy background effect.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I'm gonna bring that to the front. See how much that stands out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So play around with layering the
try doing that with the SG. I mean, see, 5G. I wonder if that would help.
Oh, maybe. Let's see.
You probably have to cut it and do it like its own text thing, right? Because it's
yeah. What size is this? This is
214.
And what if you did this in the pink?
What if you just made it pink?
Yeah.
Because it looks more like a 5, even just pink. I think it's
yeah. So there's that. Yeah, you could make it. That might make it different enough, right? Where it stands out. That's a good idea.
No, it still looks like SG to me.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's other. I'm gonna look and see if there's other fonts that you can do. Let's see. Theater display. Let's see. We can find.
Lee, this is so good. You did all of this on Canva, like you used Canva pictures and stuff?
No, I bought the pictures from iStock.
They're so good.
It looks very professional.
It
I'm gonna have to learn how to use Canva because this is so good.
Yeah. It is. It is really good. Yeah, I just wonder though if we can find another font like that, even just to like borrow the 5. Ooh, that one's kind of glitchy. Ooh,
That I like.
It's too big now, but
you might. You might do this. So this is not on your original. I promise. You might bring this over, or you might need to bring.
I kind of like the G over the parentheses thing, like layered over it, so that it's more. What if you put a space between the 5 and the G? A little space. Can you put a little space? Just separate them a little more. I think you can do that if you go to the little.
Oops.
No, not there. It's the one. Yeah. That helps. It makes it more obvious that it's 5 ghosts too.
It's separate. Yep.
Yeah.
Now that I'm looking at this so long too, the girl or whoever that is on the far right, like all you see is kind of a blob. Like I wonder if there's a way to make her like maybe just a teeny bit more visible, like the profile of her face. Oh no, it's sure the back is turned, but
yeah. We'll bring it over a little more than that. This cuts her off right here, so it's just like a lump. This brings in.
Yeah,
That defines her better. Yeah.
This
I
is
like that
very should be more visible.
What if you do the same layering thing as you did with the series with the name? I
and
think that
I
would
would
work really
take
well.
away the word by. I don't think you need that. I don't know. I don't even see that on
yeah, I don't think you need that either.
And it may be a little
much
bigger.
more visible.
And you can layer it. And then
maybe make it a little bigger.
Yes.
Be bold, Lee Carter. You wrote a book. Or you're writing a book.
Lock those up. Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that.
And then so you could just do that. You could also, if you wanted to do the same that's down there, I think you used this glitchy effect on it. And it was the
although it's
kind of yeah.
The 5G
like
looks a little too low. Just slightly lower than it should be.
I wonder if you put what this 5G looks like in this. No, I thought it would look cooler.
No, I think
better. It looks better in the pink. And
it definitely looks like a 5 now, and it also is much more clear that it's ghosts. Instead of SG hosts, it looks like 5 ghosts now to me.
Yeah, you might might do too is if it's bugging you, it's bugging me a little bit, but it might be nitpicky that this is like the brackets are off centered.
Yeah.
So what you could do with that though is you could
just do them separately so you can center them.
So like that. Let's make them. Are they this color? Yeah. And then you have a glow on them.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of customize the size there and like how far. You can center it a little more.
Yeah. That looks
and you just copy and flip it, right?
No, you just do the other bracket.
Oh. Well, if you flip it, then it's going to be the same size and everything will be easier, right?
No, it's already the same size.
All right. Ooh, that looks so good, Lee.
It really does. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Man.
I wonder if we can make this larger. I don't know. You can play like finesse it however you want.
Yeah.
Do you like that other font, or did you like it better with all one font?
No, I like it better like this.
It's much more clear that 5G, like that it's
I don't the spacing is bugging me. I feel like I don't like the spacing very much. I think that's better.
Okay. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, it looks much more distinct, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, so you were almost there. That's what I noticed with a lot of people, that they're like, I only just have to make little tweaks.
I would 100% read this book.
I kind of like this without like just your name.
I do too. It's brighter.
Yeah.
I think it like it's a proportion wise, right? Because it brings your eyes down to where else there's the glow, you know.
Yeah.
Beautiful. How exciting. That is amazing.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. Good job. Good
job, Lee.
Thank you.
Now I feel like all of us were like, Lee, I'll pay you to make my cover. Except Adrian. Adrian's going to do great with her own cover. I actually had last year, the people that made the covers for the novels that I'm going to come out with later this year. I'm definitely going to be brave enough to do it. That's it. I'm gonna. They were raising their prices by quite a lot, and I pre-ordered like 6 covers, just with the deposit, but I'll use my deposit if I don't use them. And they just sent me an email like, it's time for your first one. And I was like, holy crap, I haven't even finished writing all the ones from last year. What am I going to do? And I thought, I'm going to make a cover for this one. So they're going to make my cover, but I haven't gotten it back yet, but we'll see how that goes. And if I like it, I probably will have them make me like a season 2 for this one too, because I feel like if this does well, and then I'll just have the cover for it, and I guess if it doesn't do well, I'm just going to end up having a cover. I don't know, I'm scared.
My problem is that
everything worries me.
I can't make a cover until I know a name, and I'm horrible with names.
Let's hear your names.
I have a very long list of them. But I think though that like I want to do that. There's this thread in my story where, because my story is about a girl who finds out that she's a reader. She can read minds. And before she finds out that she can read minds, she just keeps hearing voices, and she doesn't know that the voices are real. So she thinks that she's like has schizophrenia or something, like she's going crazy. And so throughout like the whole book, she keeps calling them the voices, and like part of her accepting like that she can read minds is like at the end is going to be like her realizing that maybe she can't keep calling them the voices anymore, because the voices are like real, like they're real people that she can help, and so I want to work in the voices, I think. And I have a couple that I like, but they just sound silly to me, and I don't know. I like all the little voices, I think, is my favorite one. And then I have things the voices told me. I have the voices in the wind, which sounds to me like a VC Andrews book titles. I don't know about that one. I have the ocean of voices, people who hear the voices, people who read. I don't know. What the voices told me. I think those are my strongest ones. I like trying to work in the voices somehow.
Read the first one again.
All the little voices.
The voices that I hear, Lisa. Zach, do you have any ideas? All of those feel like takes on other books. Like you're saying them and I'm feeling like, oh, I've heard something like All the Little Things. Isn't that a book? All the Small Things. I know myself, and I would end up just mind chatter, Terry. I would end up just calling it voices or reader and guide or something.
There are a lot of books called voices.
Are there? All right, Zach, we need some ideas. Where's your magic?
Well, I would want to work. My brain goes automatically to her name, Birdie, so something about bird song almost.
Ooh.
Bird song. I like bird song.
I like that too.
What you could do is use bird song, but have it be bird songs, because she has all these people's different songs in her head.
Oh, I like that.
You could work in her calling them, like her dad could call, oh my God, her dad could call her voices her bird song.
I like that. I think I might steal that.
Go
I have
with
this
it.
whole list of titles, and Zach gives one title.
I quite like this because I quite like that though, because it's,
Too.
you know, in certain parts of your story, it's referred to as a curse. And then having it be called bird songs has that positivity to it, which I quite like.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of, like I said, I'm working it in where that's like part of her realizing, like by the end, that she can't just keep calling them the voices, right? Like she needs to realize that these are real people.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about episodic fiction is that once you come up with a good title, you can use it for every season. Like it's not like, you know, like, I don't know, Supernatural is Supernatural for 20 seasons, or Law and Order is Law and Order for 20 seasons. And you don't have to, it's just like Bird Song season 2, Bird Song season 3. I love it. I like Bird Song. Now you can work on a cover and show us next week.
I can.
I'm actually playing around with the cover right now.
Oh,
do you want to show us?
Yeah.
So keep in mind, I literally just opened Canva for the first time and I'm playing with it. So,
okay, that's okay.
So I am just. I really like that picture of the sword, and it was like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I like that
That's
picture
cool.
too.
Queen's Peculiar.
We need like a poppy color.
You know, just drag the thing so it's wider, so it'll let the S go up there. Like make the box wider.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I have a bleed area.
The corner, you're just making the font bigger. If you do it on the side, it'll,
There you
go.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe make it.
Oh, I like the cover too. I like the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Center
you know,
or left?
something you can play with. There's a way to
Can I just say that I love that he made up a blurb up at the top?
No, that was automatically with the cover.
Oh,
I was like, you're just like, you're feeling it. Like you're really like sure that you're gonna have a really heartfelt story.
If you have Canva Pro, which I mean, if you don't, I could probably get in there for you, but something that you could do, right, is you should have the ability in that picture to make a copy of the picture and just cut out the sword. And you can add kind of like a glowing effect to the sword, or add some color to the sword that makes it, because I know that you have some like magic involved, right?
Yes.
So you might be able to play around with that. They have a background remover that's really easy to use on here.
Adrian's coming over for dinner tonight, Zach.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think Margie just did that for me. We were talking about it in my chat book class. And she took a photo for me, and she.
Yeah, if you have Canva Pro, it is that's the tool that I use the most. It makes it completely worth it, because if you have any experience with Photoshop, cutting things out of images on Photoshop is
it's a pain. Yeah.
It's a big pain, and it's so easy, and it's pretty accurate. Like it will just kind of cut it out for you, and it does a pretty good job of.
Oh, that is awesome.
You know, I like the font, but that Q is really annoying me.
Yeah,
because the little tail is right at the middle.
Yeah.
All right, Zachary, are you ready to share your story with us?
I am.
if you share the link, hold on, I'm going to go close all my other tabs out. If you share the link, I will screen share so everyone can read along with you, and then we will.
All right.
To turn off your video while you're sharing.
I will not forget. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. Okay. Chat. No, you do bird song. I love it.
I do too. That's actually, I can't think of names.
It's really so pretty.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to share the screen. So you guys can read along with Zachary Payne. Let's see what you got, Zach.
All right, let me get out the full screen and then I'll start reading it. The Queen's Peculiars, Part 1, Siege at Willow Ruth. Sir, you can't go in there. Watch me. Darren Almeid, Captain General of the Queen's Peculiars, pushed his way past the build pikes, blocking his way into the command tent. It was a risky business, perhaps. A man following orders could be dangerous, but he didn't have patience for that right now. And he knew that if push came to shove, his first marshal was right behind him, her mechanized crossbow in hand. Anybody familiar with the Queen's Peculiars knew that it was a bad idea to cross Dame Amanda's star, especially under a royal warrant that allowed her to shoot first and ask questions later. It didn't seem like the perimeter guards or even the sentries outside the tent recognized them, which was good. The Queen's Peculiars did their best work when they flew low to the ground. Unfortunately, the military leadership inside recognized him, as he recognized them, royal families all. The kind of people who love to turn their noses up at him. So good of you to come, your lordship. The man sitting at the head of the table sneered from under his hooked nose. Rolled this, one of the alders of the East Farthing and commander of the Queen's army. We were wondering what it would take for the Queen's Peculiars to involve themselves. Someone's holding the Princess Royal hostage, Amanda's voice snapped from behind him. It seems like the sort of thing we might be involved in. Of course, it would have been a lot easier to get here if he'd managed to establish Lightgate, so he didn't have to schlep in from Ostport. Amanda was lucky, Darren figured. As daughter of the Reeve of Starhaven, she'd grown up around these noble shenanigans and knew how to deal with this trash. Meanwhile, he'd grown up on the streets of Queenstown, eking out a living before deciding to enlist. On the whole, that was a smart choice. He'd gone from gutter trash to a captain general in only 12 years, from being nobody to a thane of the royal household. But still, the nobles could make him feel like that little boy all over again. It's not their fault, Darren. Almarie Rezek, his commander, brought up the rear. As a warrior priestess of the three, she wore her traditional holly circlet woven through her ice-white braids. There's some kind of interference going on here, some kind of energy permeating the air. I doubt I could create a light gate. That was saying something. Almarie was a gifted magician, both in the church-approved light magics, as well as the less than ordained shadow magics of her own people, from a land far to the north of the Queen's domain. If she couldn't open a gate here, something was seriously wrong. Do they have a priest or priestess inside the compound, Darren asked? It would complicate things if they did. Then again, if there was a monastic participating in this treason, that would be bad news, especially if they were a powerful mage. There's no chapel on the island, Almarie said, nor is this the kind of magic a monastic would use. It's a darkness, Darren, a creeping darkness that crawls over the land. Oh, great, Darren sighed. Excuse me, Rold cut in. Perhaps you'd like to stop blathering long enough to receive our situation report. He phrased it delicately, as though the words were a teacup in his hands. But Darren had developed the skill of picking up on passive-aggressive bullshit, and Rold, his honor, the asshole, was dishing it out. By all means, Darren said, but for now I am relieving you of command. As the highest-ranking officer on the scene, it was his responsibility. Philip? Yes, Uncle? The boy was no more than a few steps behind him. Darren resisted the urge to grind his teeth. He wished the boy, his nephew, yes, wouldn't be so familiar with him while on duty. Plant my standard and get my flag flying over this camp. Personal colors, if you please, not the Queen's Peculiars. I want his grace to know that I'm here. Ah, yes, an obsequious man on Old Right give a feral grin. I almost forgot. You're good friends with the High Reeve of the East Farthing. Yes, indeed, Darren responded with a steel smile. And part of me is still hoping that this is a misunderstanding, that our friendship won't save him if this truly is treason. His men had barred the gates, erected wards, and are holding the Princess Royal hostage, Rold said, speaking slow enough that even an idiot could follow. I don't think there's a misunderstanding here. We'll find out soon enough, Amanda said.
Awesome. This is the very first time I have ever heard you read something that is not contemporary YA. Ever. And I am there for it. This was amazing. Thank you. Are you ready for some editing?
I am ready.
Are we going to do feedback first?
Oh, yes, we are. I'm sorry. I get very excited, you guys. I'm going to come back to you real quick then. Okay, Adrian.
I liked this. I thought it was very interesting and very intriguing. I wondered when this is set. It sounds like it might be like a period piece, so like set in the past. I was getting a little bit of like a 40s vibe, but I also don't know if that's just like because you know, I don't know. They're supposed to be the Queen's Guards, and to me that just sounds very formal, and so maybe that's why that tone is coming off. But so I'd maybe like to know more about when this is set. Is this set in our world? Like our
Fantasy.
I know, but is it like fantasy in our world, or is this a different world?
No, it's a different world.
I feel like, I'm curious, Zach, is it kind of like Game of Thrones where it's like an alternative to our world?
Yeah, it kind of is an alternative to our world. It's not Earth.
It's like an alternative because it's not like not Earth. It's not like set in space or something. So it's like Earth, but in a fantasy Earth, right?
Interesting.
Right, yes.
Yeah, so I would like to feel a little more of that because it felt like it was just like in London. and like it felt like our world to me. So I definitely would like to feel a little more of that like going forward. I think I don't know. I don't know that I have anything else right now. I think I'm intrigued with where it's going, and I'm excited to see how the magic plays in, because there's going to be a fair bit amount of magic in this, right?
Oh, yes.
So, and I agree that this is the first time that I've heard anything of yours that was not contemporary, and I think it's really interesting, really good.
Thank you. I have not written a fantasy story since middle school, literally.
Carrie, how about you? Do you have any feedback?
Yeah, Zach, I think this is a great beginning. I love how the first paragraph just establishes the Queen's Peculiars as a respected working party for the Queen. Kind of feared, kind of, you know, they're kind of in charge and people aren't going to mess with them, which is awesome. I think it gave me more of like a Merlin, King Arthur kind of vibe. It would be nice if you could place us in whatever world they're going to be. Just give us a heads up that this isn't actually Earth. If it's not Earth, what the name of the place is. And maybe you did it. I just missed it. But I was just enjoying you bringing all these characters to life for us. Everybody has their own very strong voice. There were, you know, several names, but they each had their very clear description and personality, and you could see where in the group they are placed in the hierarchy, you know, which I really appreciated. I will say that there are just two places where I got pulled out just a little bit. The first wasn't me being pulled out, but I feel like in the first few paragraphs, you say Queen's Peculiars a lot. And you might have to, but I wonder if there's any way that we could take out a few of those, just because and I don't know why, it just struck me as there were a lot of Queen's peculiars in the first few paragraphs.
Can they be like the
and then-
QP, kind of like the FBI?
Yeah, or something else that we can call them as well. And then there was one other part where somebody says, "Excuse me, if we could just stop blathering," which I love. The next sentence says something about he was skilled in the art of recognizing delicate, passive aggressive. And I had to giggle because that sentence doesn't seem passive or delicate. It seems an in-your-face challenge to me. So although I really appreciated all of that writing, I wasn't sure if the sentiment fit after what was actually said. But other than that, I mean, I can't wait to see what happens next year. This is great. You're setting up an awesome story, and yeah, good job.
Thank you, Terry. How about you,
Thank
Lee?
you.
Do you have any feedback?
I really like this. I too haven't heard you read anything other than your contemporary YA, which I love. But seeing you write in a different style is just, I really enjoyed it. I like the sort of hierarchy that you've already set up. And, I could see the world in my mind. I didn't really have much in the way of feedback for you because I was just listening. My only thing that sort of jumped out at me was when you described the guy with the hooked nose, and my brain automatically went to Snape. So I don't know if that's relevant or not, but I just thought it was something worth pointing out. But I really, really like this. And it was really nice to have you read something that wasn't, contemporary YA. And I think that you've got a real talent for fantasy.
I totally agree. I think so too. I really enjoyed this. This is so I love your writing anyway. I'm just a big fan, and I think you're a beautiful writer. But contemporary YA is not a genre like other than you that I read on purpose because it's generally pretty sad, and I don't like sad stuff that much. So most of the time I don't read contemporary YA, but this story is like exactly what I love to read. And I'm very excited to see where it's going to go. I'm going to edit this for you, so I'm not going to give you too much feedback or, technical stuff right now. There were two names, Amanda and Almaria, that I thought were a little too close. That was like one thing that stood out to me is that I got a little confused about which was which. But I thought one thing you did really well is you introduce a lot of characters in this first 3 pages. And I did not, with the exception of Amanda and Almaria, I did not get confused about who was who. Like, I knew which character was which and what their role was, and you did a really good job. And I know you said that this is like a fantasy CSI, and I really got the feeling of like the state or like the federal people coming in and the state or the city people feel like it's their job and not wanting to give up their control over it. And I feel like that's what's going on. Is it what's going on? Because that's what I picked up.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you did a really good job with that. So this is combining, like, I love police procedurals. Law and Order is by far my favorite TV show. And it's the only TV I can have on when I'm working because I've seen every episode so many times that it doesn't pull, like I can have it on just for background noise and I don't have to watch it. And and then fantasy is my, like, this kind of fantasy story is just among my very, very favorite kind of stories to read. And so the combination is really appealing for me personally as a reader. So I'm very excited.
Oh, I'm so glad it works. Yeah. If I feel like, and I hope I'm not actually doing this, but these characters feel like I'm filing the serial numbers off of the CSI Miami characters.
No, well, I don't think so. I think they're way too fantasy feeling. I did get the feeling of like, you know, the FBI coming in and the local police being like getting territorial, but I think that's just the type, like a trope, right? That's the type of story we're telling. I mean, there's only so many ways to tell this kind of story. I mean, that's how people would behave. I did not get that feeling what you just said for me personally.
Oh, good.
All right, I'm going to share my content again and let's edit. This is my favorite. I love editing. If I could just edit all the time, but my own work, that would be fantastic. Okay, The Queen's Peculiars, Part 1, Siege at Willowwood. Can you see this okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sir, you can't go in there. So what you have here in the that's a great opening line. We have in the second paragraph is one line of 2 words of dialogue and then a pretty big chunky paragraph of that's not a beat. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
So here's what I would do. I would break this up there and then I would take this and I would put it here so that we know we're set right in with who's speaking. So, sir, you can't go in there. Darren, okay, so you have Amanda, Almeida, and Almaria, right?
Right.
I really like the name Darren Almeida, and my gut feeling is that you should change Amanda Starr. The name doesn't fit for me. It's very contemporary sounding.
Okay.
And I think Almaria and Almeida are much too close.
Okay, I'll play with those names.
Okay. I very much like the name Darren Almeida though. Okay, so Darren Almeida, Captain General of the Queen's Peculiars. You're gonna think you need a comma right there. Pushed his way. I'm gonna just say this for everyone listening to you. I'm only ever about 80% sure of grammar. Like punctuation, but I'm pretty sure you need a comma there. Pushed his way past the build pikes, blocking his way into the command tent. Watch me. So that's what I would do. I would let us introduce us to him as soon as you can, which would be before he says, watch me. It was risky business, perhaps. A man following orders could be dangerous. I would put it's because you're talking about 2 men, we need to know which man doesn't have patience. I think it's Darren. And are you calling him Darren or are you calling him, I can't remember. I should go look, but you could just tell me. In the narrative, is he Darren or Almeida?
He's Darren.
Yeah, it was a risky business, perhaps. So what was what instead of it, how could we name what he's doing?
So just the act of, pushing past guards into a command tent because, he's this kind of, he doesn't dress as, a military officer, like full male. So he's like, as far as the guards know, this is just kind of like a random dude pushing into the command tent.
So like asserting something along the lines of, I'm just going to do what I like, this is a placeholder for what I'm trying, like the feeling that I want to get through, but something like asserting his authority was a risky business, perhaps. So instead of it, right, like being assertive here is what's the risky business.
Right.
It's not the act of pushing his way in. It's just behaving like he has authority in this space, in this time, right now, today, in this moment, is what is risky business. So I would name it. So asserting his authority was a risky business, perhaps. A man following orders could be dangerous, but Darren didn't have patience for that right now. So watch the thought verbs, which in this case is the word knew, right? If he's telling us it, then we know that he knows it. So you don't need to tell us. Oops. So you can just say, and I also would do another paragraph break. If push came to shove, his first marshal was right behind him, her mechanized crossbow in hand. Anybody familiar with the Queen's Peculiars knew that it was a bad idea to cross Dame Amanda Starr, especially under a royal. You've got a lot of M dashes, so I'm going to get rid of this one because you don't need it. Especially under a royal warrant that allowed her to shoot first and ask questions later. That's a really strong line, and I would put it by itself. I definitely, do you need me to make you a note, or can you remember that the name Amanda Starr, when you first read it, and also now I'm just agreeing with myself, but it stands out to me as not blending with the other names. It feels very, very modern.
Yeah, I have a note on that at the bottom, so I think
okay.
so.
Okay. It didn't seem like the perimeter guards or even the sentries outside the tent recognized them, which was good. Recognized okay, him and Amanda, right?
His whole team.
Okay, so let's say his team, which was good. The Queen's peculiars. Okay, so let's just, this one we can get rid of and just say they. They did their best work when they flew low to the ground. Unfortunately, the military leadership inside recognized him. Okay, so as he recognized them. I just watch the M dashes. That might be a note you make to yourself. So this line here, royal families, all the kind of people who love to turn their noses up at him, is telling. And you're just on the verge in the next paragraph of showing it. So I'm going to cut it. There's nothing wrong with the way it's written. It's lovely writing like yours always is, but you don't need it. And it's, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. You're just getting ready right in this next paragraph to show it. So good of you to come, your lordship. The man sitting at the head of the table sneered from under his hooked nose. Royal Tice, one of the elders of the East Farthing and a commander in the Queen's army. I almost want to put a period here because I feel like it wouldn't be easy for him to say your lordship.
I like that, yeah.
So good of you to come, your lordship. The man sitting at the head of the table sneered from under him. So you have him being passive aggressive, right? This is rolled that's passive aggressive later.
Yes.
So I think that the dialogue is passive aggressive, like he's saying your lordship, but he's saying it in a way that's like, you don't really mean that, do you? And the sneer is just very aggressive. So I'm going to cut it and just say, so now we have, so good of you to come, your lordship. Lord Thice was one of the elders of the East Farthing and a commander of the Queen's army. And then instead, like, has Darren had a problem with him before?
Actually, I imagine that he has. So I haven't thought that.
So you might have one sentence, because this is a beat, right? So not too long, of Darren's feelings about Roald, right?
Right.
This would be somewhere where you might say, depending, because you could do some character building for Darren too. So imagine if it's like, so good of you to come, your lordship. Roald Thice was one of the elders of the East Farthing and a commander of the Queen's army, and Darren wanted to punch him in the throat.
Oh, I love that.
You see what I'm saying though? Like where like a very active line that's Darren's thought.
You so need to just put Darren and wanted to punch him in the throat.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that would do some character building for Darren too, because is he the kind of man who thinks I want to punch you in the throat, but he can hold himself together? Is he a violent person? My guess is sometimes.
Sometimes, yes. He grew up,
very
you don't
get to be the commander of the Queen's whatever if you're not, right?
Right.
So we were wondering what it would take for the Queen's Peculiars to involve themselves. Okay, so definitely I'm going to agree with Terry that you might want to have like the QP. So I'm just going to use that, or Adrian said the QP, but like some way of them, like a shorthand. I'm going to put the QP, you do what works for you, because it might not be the QP, but I'm going to do that just so it's a placeholder where I think you should do something like that.
Okay.
Somebody's holding the Princess Royal hostage. Amanda's voice snapped from behind him. It seems like the sort of thing we might be involved in. Of course, it would have been a lot easier to get here if you'd managed to establish a light gate, so we didn't have to schlep in from Ostport. This is a little bit of like, as you know, Bob, somebody is holding the royal princess hostage, right? And so I wonder if Darren might have this thought instead. You know, the Princess Royal was being held hostage. Like I'm thinking to myself, like, rolled, I don't know how to write this in your voice, so I'm just gonna put it in parentheses so you know it's my thought, right? Rolled didn't seem to read that he was on the verge of being ousted altogether, right?
Right.
Like not only are they involving themselves, this is their case,
right,
as far as Darren's concerned. And then I would cut this and this and just say and then maybe, because I want to know early on that it's Amanda speaking, like not after I don't want to think it's Darren and then find out it's Amanda. You might have an Amanda beat here. It might even, I don't like voice, so you might just, I want to say Amanda's, I would have, if I was going to leave it as a tag, I would say Amanda snapped from behind him. You don't need to say voice because she's talking. So, but if you put it first, it's going to sound like, I don't know what snapped, or she might have snapped her fingers, or her mood might have snapped, or whatever. So you need a beat there, but I don't think it's going to be snapping.
Okay.
Which reads more like a tag almost. It would have been a lot easier to get here if you'd managed to establish a light gate, so we didn't have to schlep in from Ostport. Amanda was lucky, Darren figured. As a daughter of the Reeve of Starhaven, she'd grown up around these noble shenanigans and knew how to deal with this trash. Meanwhile, he'd grown up on the streets of Queenston, eking out a living before deciding to enlist. So this is a lot of thought from him, and it reads just like, you need to get us this info that I don't actually need right now.
Okay. So
I'm going to cut it. But not because it's not well done, just because I don't think it's the right place for it. It's not their fault, Darren. Almarie Rezick. This is who's commander?
Darren's.
Okay. I thought that was Amanda. So I don't know what his position is now. He's the Captain General. She's the first marshal, and he is the Marie is the commander. So that's a lot of okay, here's what I would do. I would cut this here and make it another sentence. This is a woman, right? Yeah, she was his commander, and like third in rank, or second in rank, or I don't know. Third in rank, right? On the scene or whatever. And I do think you need to say Darren's, because I'm not sure. I wasn't sure.
Okay.
As a warrior priestess of the three, she wore her traditional holly circlet woven through her ice white braids. Okay, I kind of think I would say Amanda Rezick was Darren, but Okay, I'm sorry. Hang on a second. Let me see how I want to do this. You have all these details in it, and it feels like because we're so tight in Darren's
We're
point
dumping
of
too
view,
much because
like,
it's
well,
so tight.
it's not that it's too much detail. It's just that it feels like he's stopping to like really think about her braids, right? And so Almarie Rezick, you know, was a warrior priestess of the three and Darren's commander. You know, she was third in rank on the scene. But I'm wondering if like what effect is being a warrior priestess and the traditional garb? Like I'm imagining in my mind, because you're not telling me, like if there was a nun on the scene. And a nun might like somebody who is clearly a religious figure might be a calming presence.
Right.
And so I'm wondering if that's what would that be something that she causes here, or would it be like a like not quite trusted, like she's flaunting her magic in a way, in a place where it's not as accepted, so it causes even more like if she would just dress like everyone else, she could fit in more, but she doesn't even try to blend. And so that might be what Roald thinks of her.
Right. I think there's some of that tension because she is a priestess, but she's also an outsider to the kingdom. So
okay, so then I would be like her, oops, you know, okay, here's how then, like if you get some of that in, right? So you can get us the details, but it has some purpose other than here's what she looks like. So the traditional holly circlet woven through her ice white braids, and like what's she wearing? Like is there another like does she wearing like a robe or?
she is. I need to decide on like what their traditional garb is, but that's what she'd be wearing.
And so let's say, and her
robes
blue
of
robe.
office.
I'm just gonna say her blue robe. You know, didn't have the calming effect it would at home, or in where else would they be? Like where's she from?
So she is from a land to the north I haven't described yet, but Queenston, where they come from, is more of a metropolis.
Okay, in Queenston, Roald stepped back from her, right?
Right.
So it like now we're getting this information, and actually even a little bit more information. Now we know that she's got ice white braids, she's got a holly circlet woven through, she's wearing a blue robe or whatever, and that at home her presence would be calming, but here Roald is stepping back from her. So it's not calming to him to have her there. He's afraid of her. That's what's coming, like what might be coming through here.
Right.
And instead of there, how does she know? So she's sensing an interference, right?
Yes.
So if you use that language, it's gonna, you know, she doesn't care that he's afraid of her. And even she might be leaning into it a tiny bit, right? So I sense an interference here. I would cut going on. I sense an interference here, some kind of energy. And not, I think should be a little more distinct, right? So energy permeating the air. I doubt I could, and is she saying even I could create a light gate? Because what this reads like is she's the one who should have created it and she didn't. But I think what you meant was, I doubt even I could create a light gate.
Yes.
Here. And I don't think I like here there better than here. So I sense an interference, energy permeating the air. I doubt even I could create a light gate here. In fact, you could just say I sense energy permeating the air. and just make that a little shorter, or not shorter, but like more, well, it is shorter, but more concise, like kind of resisting the urge to explain. So I sense energy permeating the air. I doubt even I could create a light gate. Let's see, read that whole paragraph. It's not their fault, Darren. Elmarie Rezik was a warrior princess of the three and Darren's commander. She was third in rank on the scene. The traditional holly circlet woven through her ice white braids and her blue robe didn't have the calming effect it would in Queenston. Roald stepped back from her. I sense energy permeating the air. I doubt even I could create a light gate here.
Oh, that's so much stronger.
Yeah, it's like, so that's a good note for anyone, including myself, that like, it's good to have the details, but if you can make them have a purpose, it reads less like, you know, as you know, or like he's stopping everything to just gaze at this woman and notice her hair. Like there's a reason for him to be thinking about her hair now. That was saying something. Elmarie was a gifted magician, both in church approved light magics as well as the less than ordained shadow magics of her own people. I don't think you need this little bit here. Okay, so I don't think you actually need this. If it becomes important that she's from the north, it can come up at that time. Elmarie is a gifted magician, both in the church approved light magics as well as the less than ordained shadow magics of her own people. I would do a paragraph break there. If she couldn't open a gate here, something was seriously wrong. Do you have a priest or priestess inside the compound? Darren asked. I would do a watch. So you have a little, this can go on like your own personal style guide, but you have a tendency to put more than a beat as a beat. Like you attach the dialogue to the narrative, and the problem is then the dialogue gets lost then.
Right.
So remember, a beat is just a tiny little piece of, and I almost feel like there's a little too much in the middle of this one, but it's hard for me to tell with everything that's cut out. So if that feels long, you could, what you could do right here is have a response from Roald, and it could be Roald stepped back from her. You can move that there and let that break up her, so you can have two beats and her speaking twice in a row. So it's not their fault, Darren. Elmarie Rezik was a warrior priestess of the three and Darren's commander. She was third in rank on the scene. Roald stepped back from her. The traditional holly circlet woven through her ice white braids and her blue robe didn't have the calming effect here that it did in Queenston. And then you can go on. I sense energy permeating the air. Oh, here, I'm sorry, Zach, this is what I would do. I would do another paragraph break and then say, you know, just give her a beat here so we know it's her. Otherwise, it's not clear that it's her in the second one. I sense energy permeating the air, she said. I doubt even I could create a light gate here. And that way you avoid having, like, the dialogue is just going to stand out way stronger. Okay. If she couldn't open a gate here, something was seriously wrong. Do they have a priest or priestess inside the compound? Darren asked. It would complicate things if they did. Then again, if there was a monastic participating in this treason, that would be bad news, especially if they were a powerful mage. Why would it complicate things?
Because they'd essentially be having to fight another magician one-on-one.
Okay.
Magic is theoretically approved only for the church. So, so, you know, if a priest or priestess has gone bad, then that's bad. But also if they have outside magicians, that's also really bad.
Okay. It would complicate things if they did, especially if they were facing a powerful monastic mage. I love the word monastic, by the way. I think it's a fantastic word. So I want to get it back in there, but you have these two sentences. It would complicate things if they did. And then again, so the two sentences say the same thing. It's bad news and complicated, but you have then again. Like, even though you're agreeing with yourself. So I'm not sure. That was confusing to me. Does that make sense? I'm not
Yes,
sure if
it
I'm reading
does.
that right. Okay. So I think I would just pick one, and I like it would complicate things if they did better. I think Darren is in a position here where he's in charge, and like, he, you know, he's not going to have extra thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to be particularly lyrical in his own thinking.
Right.
So I think I just like it would complicate things if they did. It sounds like a cop, especially if they're facing a powerful monastic mage. There's no, okay, let's see. I think what you're trying to say is it would complicate things if there was magic involved in this treason, right?
Yes.
Especially if they were facing a powerful monastic mage. I think that's what you're trying to say.
That is, yes.
Okay. So it's possible that there's no magic happening. It's just people. Is
Right.
that correct? Okay.
Yes.
There's no chapel on the island, Almarie said. Nor is the kind of magic. Is this the kind of magic a monastic would use? It's a darkness, Darren, a creeping darkness that crawls over the land. See, now I really like Almarie being very lyrical and a little more wordy. And to make that really shine, you have to not, and that's your voice, right? She's your author voice. And to me, you have a very lyrical style that's your personal writing style. And to make that shine for her, you have to walk it back for Darren.
Right.
If everybody talks that way, then it loses its power.
Right.
So make that note for yourself. Oh, great. See, most of the time you're doing it. And then every once in a while, especially in his inner thoughts, you go toward lyrical in a way that doesn't quite feel right, because I don't think he would be. Is this whole book going to be from Darren's point of view?
No, actually, I'm going to alternate between characters. And at the end of this story, basically, the daughter of the guy committing the treason is in love with the Princess Royal, and she ends up saving the princess and getting them out.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay, good. So I think that definitely save the most lyrical writing for Almarie. I got her name wrong. Okay. Oh, great. I feel like he might just say great, not oh great. And I also don't think you need the sigh. I think you can just, she's talking to him. So right here, because you have so many times where you have to say who's talking, that when you don't, it's good to just like let it not, like when you can get rid of a beat that's so small, like it's a good thing to do when you have to have a beat for almost everything, because there's so many people.
Right.
But because she says his name, it's clear that he's responding.
Right.
Excuse me, rolled cut in. So I had the same note as I had the same note as Terry, that this is not a passive aggressive statement. It's a rude, right? Which is not passive aggressive. It's like overtly rude. So I would just say, perhaps you'd like to receive our situation report. And then I would just put his name here. Phrased it delicately, as though the words were a teacup in his hands. But Darren had developed the skill. So it's now, I don't think you need this, because I think that instead I would just give him a thought, right? Passive aggressive asshole, right?
Yes.
So do you see the difference there where you're saying the exact same thing, but with 2 words instead of 15 or whatever?
Right.
Like that's Darren's, where Marie might have this whole thought.
Right.
Darren is likely not going to. He's a pretty like, and especially in
guy.
this, he's like on right now.
Yeah.
Okay. By all means, Darren said. And I'm wondering if, but for now, it might be after I relieve you of command. You know, just as soon as I relieve you of command, something like that. And then I feel like you need, you know, a response from Rolled there. It doesn't have to be excuse me, but whatever. That's my placeholder. Excuse me. As the highest ranking officer on the scene, it was his responsibility. Philip. Yes, uncle. The boy was no more than a few steps behind him. Darren resisted the urge to grind his teeth. He wished the boy, his nephew, yes, wouldn't be so familiar with him while on duty. That's good. Plant my standard and get my flag flying over this camp. Personal colors, if you please, not the Queen peculiars. I feel like that needs a possessive, but I don't know. I want his grace to know I'm here. I think I would have Philip responds just a little like yes sir, and which would give you the chance to do this better. I want his grace to know I'm here. So like, because we have this thing with his uncle and he likes to be called sir, and that's a little character development, right?
Right.
This is a man who enjoys his position.
Yes.
He enjoys having authority. And so like, I like him, like if you have Philip saying, what is the word I'm looking for? Calling him the right word, sir, rather than uncle, he would be like, okay, that's better.
Yeah.
And then that would remind him, like, I want his grace to know that I'm here. Yes. And I don't even know what that word means. Obsequious. I don't know what it means.
It's kind of like servile, very, you know, snooty and polished and just very brown nosing almost.
Does it sound like Darren's word?
No.
Or Zach's word?
Yeah, it's definitely not Darren's word.
So like, you know, his word would be a brown noser on Royal's right gave a feral grin. I almost forgot. You're good friends with the High Reeve of the East Farthing. Yes, indeed. Darren responded with his steel smile. So Darren's probably not going to think about his own smile right here.
Right.
And part of me is still hoping that this is I don't think I would use the word and I think what I might say is, because I mean he's just arrived, so still hoping seems like a kind of odd word choice. I think it might be just, I hope that this is a misunderstanding. I like this, but I feel like I want somebody to say something that makes him say the next line.
Okay.
Like I want it to be in response to something, and instead of but, I want it to be, our friendship won't save him if this is truly treason. So I want someone to say something like, you know, lucky for him that you do, right? Or that you're here or whatever.
Right.
And it might be the same brown noser, right? No, isn't he lucky that you're here? Actually, I like that. So you know, isn't it lucky then that you're here? Which is a very passive aggressive, right?
Yes.
Because he doesn't really think it's lucky. He thinks it's kind of like not lucky. Right. And then our friendship won't save him if this is truly treason. his men have barred the gates and erected wards and are holding the princess royal hostage, Roald said, speaking slowly enough that even an idiot could follow. So you could just say Roald spoke slowly enough. Spoke slowly enough that even an idiot could follow. I don't think there's a misunderstanding here. We'll find out soon enough. And I would just give Amanda a beat here. Because otherwise it reads like Darren all the way up till we get the word Amanda.
Okay.
Do you have any questions? Did all of that make sense?
No, this all makes sense and it sounds so much better already. I'm excited to make these changes.
Cool. So my biggest advice to you is to make sure that you keep Darren's voice very separate. Like, remember that the narrative is his inner dialogue. You're very tight in his point of view here. You don't pull back at all throughout. And so he's going to be like more clipped and like, you know, like,
Right.
you know, and later when he's in a more relaxed place and there's no enemy around or whatever, whether he thinks of these as his enemies on purpose or not, like they're still like, when he's less on, he might be a little like more
Open.
yes, and flowy. But in this moment, he's going to be very military.
Right.
Or military-esque or whatever. Militant. I don't know what the right word is, but you know what I mean? Like he's going to speak like a military officer, and he's
Right.
actually, his brain is like on high alert. And so in his thinking, he's not going to stop to like look at someone's hair unless there's some reason for him to notice somebody else's response to it.
Right.
Okay, cool. I hope that was useful.
Yes, it really was. I'm really excited to go around
Yay.
and play with this.
Good. I'm sorry, Kevin isn't gonna like do the trash right this minute when I'm live on the thing. You can't do it right now. Okay, sorry. Real life here. I think we're done. Does anybody have any last comments for Zach?
I just think it sounds great, and I can't wait to see what's going to develop. It's really engaging.
Did any of you guys have questions about the edits from Zach? Like, I don't know. Do you feel like that's going to be helpful for you in your own writing?
Watching the process is very helpful because I find myself catching things that I wouldn't have now that I'm editing my own stuff again with this in mind. It is really helping me a lot. So I love this, and I'm glad that we get to do it.
Yeah, I think I want to say one more thing about that. I keep coming back to that line about I can't remember her name now, the priestess's hair, that when you describe her hair like that, where it's just the description, that's where you're pulling back, right? It feels
Right.
more omniscience, and it's jarring, I think, because it's the only line in the whole all those pages where that happened.
Right.
And so that is I don't feel like I need to convince you. I'm just wanting to make it clear for like anyone listening, like why that's important, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, I think we're done. So this was almost 2 hours long, and that's okay. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something from it. And check the show notes for more about Zach's story, The Queen's Peculiars, and all of our Substack links. And we look forward to talking to you again next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.